Story 1. Secretly married a Muslim woman. Backstory: I, white Christian male, 30. Married a wonderful brown Muslim female, 30. I grew up in Nowhere, Oklahoma, in a town of about 400 people. I was a bull rider most of my life. Grew up farming, hunting, etc. I drove loud trucks and swam in the river. When I left school early, I joined a great racial group. Just hear me out. Lived in a very patriotic, conservative Christian town. I was your typical Southern good old boy, raising hell, slinging mud, and loved it. I left school at an early age, started working and partying like crazy. I moved to the big city as a teen, found some friends, and had fun. One of my friends showed me a store that would sell me beer, tobacco that was owned by a Muslim family. One happened to be this cute girl, but there were obvious differences. I didn't have a lot of choice but to go there, but at least it was cheap. Over the next 2 years, I somewhat got to know them, but not much more than I moved away for 2 years. I eventually visited to see my friends and went back to that store every day as I was still underage. This time, something different happened. I noticed myself having happy conversations with them, with these great people from Bangladesh, who were still fresh off the boat, so to speak, having only been here a couple years and still hardly spoke English. I started becoming friends with the daughter, going to the store or whatever together, and next thing I knew, I kind of started to like her. By this point, I was starting to realize that, hey, these people aren't any different than me. There are wonderful, friendly people, and aside from accent, language, and skin, there is no different than anyone else. I left the not-so-nice group now, realizing that I was wrong for having the feelings I had towards other people, and that they were all just people, and I was being terrible. BW, where I'm from, had nothing to do with it. All-white town, so no one ever talked about it, and the people are very respectful. I ended up staying around just because I had feelings for her. Moved in with my friends and got a job. She was an incredible girl, absolutely beautiful, funny, very smart, and sweet. She was the perfect girl, and we communicated pretty well. She spoke decent English and was getting better. Unfortunately, it could never be because of who I am and who she is. She's not going to like me anyway, even if she could be with me. 4 months go by and I can't take it anymore. I asked her to dinner one night, which was normal, we ate out before, and decided I was going to ask her out. We had dinner, and at the end I was so nervous and scared and so many butterflies I could barely speak. I finally just forced myself to blurt out, "I love you, would you go out with me as a girlfriend?" As soon as that came out, my heart dropped to my knees. I knew it was going to be a no and just wanted to die right there. I heard her say something and I was so worked up that I couldn't hear. I asked her what she said. I looked up as she happily spoke out, "Yes," with the most beautiful smile and shine. I could not believe she said yes. How? She can't even be with me. We snuck around behind everyone, dating and seeing each other every chance we got, even if it was for 2 seconds. We would even drive all the way across town or leave work to see each other for 5 minutes. We did it a lot. Nobody knew, but life was great. After half a month, to the day, I knew no matter what I wanted to be with her forever. That feeling that people say, "you just know," is confirmed real. I knew that no matter where life took me, I had to have her by my side. I just wanted to be with her every minute of my life. I worked as hard as I could, as fast as I could, and finally came up with the money to buy a ring, and I was going to ask her to marry me. I nervously drove with her to our secret spot that afternoon, and we sat by the water just talking. I worked up all the courage I had, turned to her and said, "Will you marry me?" After what felt like the space-time continuum froze for eternity, really 0.5 seconds. Tears rolled out of her face as the most beautiful, wonderful, smart, gorgeous, kindest, loving woman I'd ever seen said yes. The feelings I felt were unlike anything I've ever experienced, and could not begin to describe the feeling I had. This is happening. She's really mine. I'm gonna marry her. Fast forward after another half month of fun, and one day, we seemingly simultaneously said, "Let's get married now." Still, no one knew of our relationship, so we called the courthouse in a town an hour away and booked the closest available date, which was the next week. On the day we snuck away from our day, got dressed, met up, and went to the courthouse. Nobody knew about us, so we didn't have the 2 required witnesses. Luckily, the kind people at the court offered to fill in. And that day, we got married exactly 1 month, to the day and down to 5 hours, from the moment I asked her out. I was the happiest man ever. 2 weeks later, unfortunately, someone in her family who was her CPA noticed her different last name on an important form. She didn't say anything and later looked her up on the court records site and proceeded to call every Bangladeshi person in the state to tell them she married an American. She still lives with her whole family, and that night I got a call of her freaking out that her family knew. I went over to their house expecting the worst and got met with huge smiles and hugs. They were actually super excited about us. Hell yes. The next week we got a house together. A few months later, she got pregnant and we started our life. Fast forward, and eventually we went back to my hometown and met everybody there. Everybody greeted her with wide open arms. My dad, mom left 4 years old, was happy and kind. And even though it was heavily Christian and almost no one had ever seen a Muslim or even a different color person before, I was proud that my town didn't see race or religion or language and saw she was a great person and truly invited her or us into their homes. She gave birth to our wonderful, awesome, healthy son, and we officially started our own little family in life. Life was perfect. After 7 years of marriage, life and raising our awesome, incredibly smart, wonderful boy. After the years of sickness, I got very ill and bedridden for several years. Ups and downs, and all the twists and turns life has thrown at us along the way, I'm still madly in love with her, just as much as the day I asked her out. Ran off and got married after just a few months of even really talking, and it couldn't have been better. Technically, we're not supposed to be. She can't marry a Christian. But we respect each other, our beliefs, and support each other no matter what. Religion never ever gets in the way, and we really don't even talk about it. We don't force either religion on our boy. He can be whatever he wishes, and we'll support him. I'm not sure if as a Christian I can marry a Muslim, but I always tell people the same thing when they ask about it. God says no matter what, we have to respect each other, no matter who you are or your religion, to love one another no matter what and do all you can for others. That's all the permission I need. We have a wonderful life and family. We live in a wonderful place, have wonderful jobs, and I'm the happiest I've ever been and couldn't ask for more. The Lord has truly blessed me and life is perfect. Never judge someone over your differences. When you look deep, we're truly unique, yet truly all the same. We're just people who want the same things in life. We all just want to be happy, to find love and be loved, to be safe and to be comfortable. I now study other cultures' medicinal history for a living, to bring people safe, natural, and effective medicine. It's incredible what you can learn about the world and its people when you open your mind. Let down your fears, your barriers, your prejudices, and open your eyes to the incredible world out there. People are an incredible thing. We're indescribable and full of greatness, no matter what part of the ball you're on. You'll find the most incredible things and people in the most incredible places, and you'll find the most joy and humbleness. Story 2. I married a non-Muslim man, and it was the best decision of my life. I was born and raised in a Muslim household with very strict and abusive parents. I went through a phase of not believing in religion, and then found my way back to Islam. When I turned 22, I started considering marriage and relationships. I've tried everything, telling family members and friends about my intentions of getting married. I tried Islamic marriage websites, Muslim dating apps, and I was never able to find anyone. Eventually, I convinced myself that it wasn't my destiny to get married. When I turned 25, I met a non-Muslim man. He was everything I ever wanted. Smart, kind, caring, calm. I had a lot of contradicting ideas on if I should marry him, and I finally decided to say yes. To avoid family drama, we got married through a civil ceremony with no wedding. I expected guilt, remorse, confusion, but instead, I felt nothing but happiness. Everything with this man has been perfect. We had sex for the first time and it was perfect. We went on a fancy honeymoon and it was perfect. We came back and I moved to his place and I felt at home. I never felt like I truly belonged anywhere, but now I do. I have my own place. I met his family, and although I had to hear some weird comments, he always defended me, and he did it in a way I felt safe and not awkward. Yesterday, I was making him breakfast and dropped a really expensive teapot on the ground, and it broke. His reaction? To ask me if I'm hurt and cleaning up all the mess himself. While he was cleaning, I went on to make tea again. In his mind, it was probably nothing, but for me, it was such a peaceful and happy moment. Last week, we were watching an ad, and it showed a field of sunflowers, and I told him they were my favorite flowers growing up. 3 days later, while he was at work, he sent me a yellow flower bouquet similar to sunflowers. When he came back from work, he told me he saw a pair of earrings and thought I would like them, so he bought them for me. Right now, I'm waiting for him in bed, and I feel nothing but calmness and at peace. I don't know what to say. Is this a sin? Because I never felt happier. Story 3. I would rather kill myself than marry a Muslim man. I just need to get this off my chest. I am an ex-Muslim woman, first off. I don't care if he's a liberal Muslim. There's no telling when one of those Friday prayer sermons or those videos from Mufti Menk or whatever online radicalizes him. I sure as hell am also not marrying a guy who thinks he's the leader of the house, and I should be subservient to him because Islam says so. I'm not going to be treated like a servant, child, bang maid 3. In one by some man, and I'd leave at the first signs of him being that way. If I was forced to marry a Muslim man by my father and there is genuinely no other way out, I'm 100% killing myself. But I don't want to die, so you'll bet I'll fight tooth and nail against that shit. I'm not in some place as extreme as Saudi, so I have a chance in my favor if something like that happens. I also don't think my dad is like that. This is stemming from the fact that my parents didn't accept my boyfriend because he's not Muslim. They refused to even talk with him. The other day I was talking about a wedding I'll be attending, and my stepmom told me I should also find a good, local man to marry. Fuck. No. They are bigoted against him just because he's not Muslim. I am so damn angry at them. I love my parents, but I hate their behavior towards him. All of this has also culminated, and he broke up with me recently because he didn't want to separate me from my family. He's also grieving a huge loss in his family himself. It's just all around a huge mess. I just need to vent somewhere. He's not separating me from my family. I'm not distancing myself from them. They are the ones doing that. They are the ones who made a huge offensive judgment about his character just because he's a kafir, and I am furious at them. Story 4. I am scared to marry a Muslim man. I don't mean to generalize, as that is not my intention, but from my experience, most of the Muslim men I have met are highly misogynistic, sexist, and judgy. I feel as though I may be attacked brutally for this, because most people on Reddit are men, but anyways. I've been trying to strengthen my faith as of recently, but I've realized it's mostly men who see me have something to say about it. For example, it's Ramadan at the moment. Ramadan Mubarak to you all. And my friend couldn't fast for reasons you can guess. Anyways, she was buying something to eat on the way home, and some random man scolded her for eating and started demanding to know why she was. The audacity shocked me. You might think this is a one-time thing, but I've had many events similar to this occur. I have also realized that hijabis are predominantly targeted for every little thing we do, constant accusations of tabarrur, etc. The amount of Muslim men who have called women disgraceful and disgusting terms in front of my brother and father makes me sick. Oh, she's flaunting for everyone to see. She's used because she's a divorcee, revert, etc. I really do not think we have a right to judge others so meticulously when we have ourselves to worry about. There's also something in particular that terrifies me. I believe it is in a hadith. Has slipped my mind. Apologies. It's about how women have to get in bed when the husband requests it. So many have used this as a way to excuse saying their spouses and other horrific things. It scares me to death. On top of this, there are many who are quite physically and emotionally violent and weaponizing, trying to bend rules in order to take advantage of their spouses. To be honest, I do know some of these things are not exclusive to men in Islam at all, but I've noticed that some of these characteristics are shockingly prevalent. Of course, I know that there are amazing men in this ummah, and I respect you highly, but it is things like this that make me quite scared.